Here we go, Athletes Forum Podcast. Yes, let's talk some college football. Let's wrap up week one, the official week that we just had in college football. Some highs, some lows. Needless to say, it was a week. It was a hell of a week to be a part of college football, to love college football. And now let's talk and react to college football, right? So, what I want to give you, what I just want to give you what I learned, right? What I noticed, what my takeaways are from week one in college football. All right, let's talk about the parlay, right? Wasn't a good week. Wasn't a good week for the parlay. Didn't do too well, right? After coming off a nice week zero parlay where we hit everything except that Miami under, right? We had a good week there. A little bit of a down week this week, right? But we are at 7-6, still above 500, heading into week two of college football. So let me give you my quick thoughts. All right, but first, more importantly, drop a comment, subscribe to the channel, share with a friend, but more importantly, let's have conversations in the discussions in the chat. All right, here we go. It's college football time, so let's talk about it. Week one, let's get right to it. Ohio State, Texas, right? I'll tell you what, didn't really live up to the hype. It didn't really live up to the hype. Thought it was going to be a more entertaining game. Turns out it wasn't. But if you like defense, it was a good game. It was a good game. Ohio State's defense is good. Is real good, right? I know there are a lot of questions about Matt Patricia, how he would translate, obviously coming into this game. Translate pretty well, in my opinion, right? He did a lot of things that really confused Arch Manning, really confused Sark, right? Mix up a lot of coverages. And when you're able to have an All-American safety, right, like Caleb Downs, you're able to do that type of stuff. Had him on the line a couple times, dropped him in coverage a couple times, right? They showed a lot of too high, but they rotated to some cover one, played a lot of cover two, a lot of two man, but they were strapping. They were strapping the whole game. Matt Patricia had a great game plan, really confused Arch Manning and Sark, right? Got to include Sark into this. So, he definitely had a key play into the success of Ohio State. And that defense looks real. Defense looks legit. They'll probably be number one on the Texas side, right? Sark. We got to start thinking about things when it comes to Sark, right? You think about the loss to Washington a couple of years, right? You think about the loss to Georgia twice last year, right? The loss to Ohio State, who would eventually become the Natty, right? Similar to Kirby Smart. What do I mean by that? Kirby Smart. When Nick Saban was at Alabama, Kirby Smart could not beat Alabama, right? We always thought Kirby Smart had a Nick Saban problem. Turns out he has an Alabama problem, right? So how does that relate to Sark? Sark may have a big game problem. Sark may have a big game problem, right? When you think about all the games and what they come down to in the final stretch is obviously Washington, that 2-minute drill, right? Right? You think about Georgia being out physical in the first game, right? Losing to a backup quarterback in the second game, right? Think about Ohio State crumbling a little bit down the end, right? Sark in Texas may have a big game problem, right? But we'll see how all that pans out. Another thing, I need to see more weapons on offense besides Ryan Wingo. We need to see more weapons get involved, right? They definitely don't have the speed they had last year, but we need to see more weapons get involved for Arch and Sark in order for this thing to keep rolling, right? Needless to say, I thought it was a good game, real low-scoring game, right? 14-7, but we'll see how these two pan out and if they potentially see each other going forward. Next one, Bama. Man, listen, if you watch the podcast, I hate Florida State, but I got to give credit where credit is due. They put it on Bama. You belt the ass on Bama, right? And Bama, a two-score favorite in this game. Just couldn't get it done. Tommy Castellanos, listen, BC quarterback last year, came down to Florida State, put belt the ass, beat Florida State in Florida State's house, right? I don't know what happened at BC. He ends up getting benched. We don't really see anything else. Same performance, same stadium, different team, different opponent, right? And he called it. He called it earlier in regards to saying, there's no Nick Saban on that sideline, right? Right? And he proved it. He proved to be a problem. And that's going to be a name. If Heisman, I'm telling you, that's a Heisman name to keep an eye out for. Johnny Manziel type of aura down in Florida State. I don't like it as a Florida fan, but I'm not worried about it until we get later in the season. But Tommy Castellanos, good job, my friend. Defensively, man, they looked way better, way more physical than Bama. I really didn't recognize Bama. I'm going to be honest with you. Ryan Grubb, who's the offensive coordinator, I expected more to come from this offense, right? You think about Kalen DeBoer and what he's done at Indiana, what he did at Fresno State, what he did at Washington, right? You expect more coming from this offense. It wasn't there. It wasn't there. Bama did me dirty, right? Bama did me dirty, right? 23 straight season openers for Bama, done, right? You think about the last couple of games, lose to Vandy, lose to Oklahoma, lose to Michigan, and now a loss to Florida State, who went 2-10 last year, right? Bama got rolled. I'm not sure how long the leash is for Kalen DeBoer, but it's definitely getting short. All right, another team, Colorado. Man, listen, the coaches failed. I got to say, the coaches failed in that Colorado game, right? You think about having 3 turnovers in the first 4 minutes of the game and only getting 7 points, right? And then not really being able to score throughout the game. Like, I expect more from Pat Shurmur. I expect a little bit more push the ball, downfield, a little bit more run game. Get Kate Salt a little bit more in the run game. Now, I can't put it all on the coaching. Kate Salt missed a lot of easy throws, all right? And this is coming from a guy who's replacing a guy like Shedeur, where all he did was make the easy throws, right? So we'll see. Defensively, I'm starting to see same things they showed last year, right? Falling in love with the man coverage, not having somebody on the quarterback when he loses contain and breaks pocket, right? So we're seeing some of the same things that are circulating, right? Dion not using the timeouts in the last 2 minutes. It started with like a minute or something, gets down to 18 seconds before K-Salt goes out of bounds, right? As a team, they didn't capitalize when they needed to, right? Now, I'm optimistic, but only if they learn from this mistakes, only if they prove they can be better going forward. They got Delaware next week, a team that just joined this level of football. We'll see how it pans out. And also, people are already asking for Juju. Give K-Salt some time. Give him some time. I know we want to see Juju, right? Obviously, seeing some of what the freshmen did at quarterbacks this past week, but Colorado's gonna be in good shape, right? Let's just hold the horses on that, okay? Another team, LSU Clemson. Listen, Clemson loses to another SEC school, right? You think about losing to South Carolina, losing to Georgia, losing to Texas, right? Kind of an Alabama thing going on there, right? And you lose to LSU at home. LSU finally wins a home opener. Finally wins a opener, right? Is LSU officially over the hump, right? 2 quarterbacks that are probably going to be compared 1 and 2 going into the draft. Garrett Nussmeier looked decent. I'm not going to lie. He looked more like the better quarterback when he had the quarterback, right? The biggest adjustment LSU made was they had to keep Cade Klubnik in the pocket because he's dangerous when he gets out and starts running on his feet. They did that better in the second half, right? Garrett Nussmeier was better in the pocket, better at making throws, more, more structured, so to say, right? Clemson's defense, where was Tucker, right? Yeah, we talked a lot about that defense, that up front. I expected more for up front. Right now, again, they're in the ACC, but you look at what Miami just did to Notre Dame. You look at what Florida State did to Bama. You look at, obviously, Georgia Tech gets a good win. The ACC is kind of tricky. So we'll see how, all that, pans out. But again, another game in regards to LSU and Clemson that was intriguing. Also, think about this. Garrett Nussmeier's father, offensive coordinator now for the Saints. Garrett Nussmeier came back, right? Came back for a reason. Follow the tea leaves now. It could be a match made in heaven when we get to that point. All right. Let's go to Thursday night. Nebraska. Listen, Nebraska got the win, right? Shout out Big Red, right? Nebraska got the win. I expected more offensively, though. I think they got off to a little slow start. Wasn't really fully clicking on all cylinders. You think about Riola, who still threw for about 243, and they still had 100 and some change on the ground. I just expected more. Or is Cincinnati better than we thought? Because Cincinnati took them to the wire. All right, Cincinnati was a tough match. And with Cincinnati, what was supposed to be a home game for Cincinnati, really a home game for Nebraska, right? Cincinnati did their thing, and they almost came away with the win if it wasn't for that interception at the end, right? Now, we'll see how everything, comes together. Nebraska, I think they play Akron next week. So we'll see how that offense continues to gel and comes forward. But I just expected a little bit more from Nebraska and Dylan Raiola in the game, all right? So, lastly, Kansas State. Kansas State's in trouble, man. Kansas State is in trouble. And, you were playing North Dakota. You wasn't even playing North Dakota State. You was playing North Dakota, and you only won by 3. This is a team that a lot of people picked to win the Big 12. This is a team that, a lot of people thought high of, right? I think Kansas State's in trouble. I won't talk too much about Kansas State. All right. Lastly, who else do I want to talk about? All right. Miami Notre Dame. Listen, I'll go on this quick. I'm not really a Miami fan. I'm not even a Carson Beck fan, but I give credit where credit is due. Carson Beck played well. Defense played well. Shout out to defensive coordinator Corey Weatherman, right? I played at University of Maine. He was a coach at University of Maine. Kudos to him. Defense, they slacked a little bit mid-game, though, right? They slacked a little bit mid-game. Allowed Notre Dame to come back in the mix. Notre Dame's going to be just fine. But Miami, the drop-off's not too big as we all thought it was going to be. Carson Beck to Cam Ward, all right? If anything, you got someone who could be close and can win games. But I like the speed of Miami, right? I like how physical they played. I like how they flew around to the ball. As a Florida Gators fan, we'll see you September 20th. Cane fans, drop a comment if you need me to be at that game, right? Or you want to talk some. We got a couple weeks to get there, but we'll see you at the game, right? Now, college football. We're heading into week 2, right? Heading to week 2 of college football. We got some good games lined up, right? I'm excited about that Michigan-Oklahoma game, right? First and foremost. I know College Game Day is going to be there. We'll talk more about that. But later in the week, we'll dive into some more games. I'll give you the play, what the parlay is for the locker room. We're going to try to be better, right? We're going to try to be better than what we were, right? We're still above 500, right? The locker room. Drop a comment. Let me know what you think about everything we got going forward in college football and who you want to see, who you want to talk about for week 2, all right? Athletes Forum Podcast.
We doing everything they talk about. I'm everything a boss about.